Abby Erceg, thank you so much for joining us on our first episode of Attacking Third.
Of course, thank you for having me. Honored to be here.
Your country is one of the host countries in this World Cup. How massive is this for the people of New Zealand?
Big, big, big. I think anytime you can host a major tournament like this, it's huge for the sport. The conversation around it has been happening for years. It's not just kind of something that's happened this year or last year. There was a lot of conversation when I was still playing about being able to host. So it's exciting. It brings a lot of attention to the sport. And I just hope that, the resources have been put in place to make sure that once the sport is finished and the tournament is finished, that we can capitalize on that and really help grow the game in New Zealand.
Abby, you decided to retire from international soccer at the beginning of the year. What went into that decision? And then at the same time, what is it like for you to be on the other end of things, now supporting so many of these players that you played with for so long?
Oh, yeah, Jordan, that's a tough question. That's a complicated question.
You got to bring it, right?
There's a lot. It's not just like, do I want to play? Do I not want to play? There are so many aspects to an athlete's life that determines whether or not you want to play for your national team. And I think number one is just the enjoyment side of it. I've been to World Cups, I've been to Olympics, and I think if you get to a point where you're not enjoying it anymore, that's first and foremost going to, I think, be the major part of your decision. And then you've got just the whole entire political side of it. We've been fighting the good fight for a long time in women's sport, and New Zealand, we've been doing it for a lot longer. I think there's a lot that needs to be done for the sport in New Zealand, for soccer in particular, but it's just sometimes it gets a little bit tiring. So I think, in the later stages of my career, it's about enjoying it now. I want to enjoy this game as much as I can for as long as I can. And unfortunately, it just had to be that I had to let that side of the game go, that competitive side of it. So I enjoy what I'm doing now, but, not playing a World Cup at home, of course, that's going to be something you kind of think about and reflect on for a long time. But, I'm at peace with it, and I'm happy to be in the position that I'm in now.
For you and with this New Zealand side heading into this World Cup as they are hosting it, what does success look like for them heading into this World Cup? In
all honesty, I think just qualifying out of their group. I don't think New Zealand has never qualified out of the group in a World Cup. We've done it in the Olympics. But to do it in a World Cup is big, and to do it at home is even bigger because, like I said, you're bringing recognition to the sport, and success is one of the best ways that you can do that. If the team is successful, people are going to pay attention. So the first thing they need to do is qualify out of the group and get out of that group stage. You create a little bit of history, you create a little bit of a buzz, and then from there it's just game by game. You're in elimination mode. So I think being the host group, they have the easiest run. So, a little bit of pressure on, but at the same time, that's what the World Cup's all about.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ab. And I have to ask, we've seen other countries performing, the Haka, Spain, the Netherlands, this beautiful celebration. I have to ask your take on seeing other countries perform this and your thoughts.
I mean, you could get offended or you can whatever, but that's our culture. And the fact that people are celebrating it or, integrating it into their trainings or into their culture in some way, it's cool because, we're bringing recognition about our tiny little country and our culture that nobody else gets to see. It's now worldwide and everybody knows what the Haka is and what's happening. So regardless of how it's happening, I think it's a good thing for us. Like I said, the recognition is huge. We can talk about the rules about it a little bit later and whether or not it's appropriate, but I think it's just cool. Celebrate the culture and get involved. And if you want to make it up, then make it up. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. I think just get immersed in what you're doing and celebrate the culture a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think we can see that there is the beautiful aspect of celebrating the culture, but there has been some backlash in terms of not knowing those rules that you're talking about. Can we just get into that a little bit? Because I don't think that people know how to access those rules or what is respectful for certain things.
Yeah, well, and that's what I mean. The culture is so complicated. You're talking about generations and generations of a history that, we learned growing up. So for people to know that off the bat, it's tough. But I mean, traditionally women don't perform the Haka. And if we do, it's a backward role. I mean, the Haka is something that you do and perform when you're going into battle and into war. Mm-hmm. So women would typically have their own version of a Haka. it's not the traditional one you see the men do, because women aren't the ones going into battle. So just rules around that and how you perform that. We're not sticking out our tongues. That's kind of forbidden. There's just small things like that. But I think other than that, just get into it, celebrate it. Why not?
We like that.
Yeah, a lot of celebration happening for sure, Abby, with this team. Looking at the upcoming World Cup and the 23 players that have gathered for New Zealand, who can audiences expect to get a good look at for New Zealand?
Oh, I think, the captain, Ellie Riley, she's been in the NWSL. She's had a little bit of recognition lately with her performances. So I think first and foremost her, and as she should, she's the captain. She's leading the team out. You want people to know who she is, and she's going to put in some good, solid performances. You've got the goalkeeper, Erin Naylor, who's been there for a long time. Annalie Longo, who's our midfielder. She's our little magician in midfield.
Yeah, she's great.
She has some quick feet. She's going to put on a pretty special performance for people as well. And then we've got a little bit of speed up front with Hannah Wilkinson. Again, she's been in the team for a really long time. She's had a couple of injuries that have set her back, but I think, you can expect some explosiveness from her up front.
A good target up there for the New Zealand team. But for you have plenty of targets when you talk about this Race in Louisville team. We see it all behind you. You're currently in training camp, getting ready to go into this Challenge Cup. There's a big push for you guys. You're the only undefeated team right now in NWSL in Challenge Cup play. What have you liked about how your team has been performing? And then what are your expectations to what you guys can do in these coming games in Challenge Cup?
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, moving teams and adopting a new culture has been a bit of a challenge in and of itself. But I think the expectation for me personally is always I want to win everything all the time. I hate losing. I think any athlete hates losing. So the expectation is that we win and we win everything. And the fact that we're doing that is great in the Challenge Cup. So that's cool. But I think for these girls, they lack experience. They lack exposure to these high quality games, playoff games. They haven't, I don't think anybody's playing the playoff game here. So they lack a little bit of experience, and they're a little bit naive around what it is that needs to be done in their performances in order to get results. And I think you can see that, throughout some of the games we've had in the season. We've dropped some 2-0 leads, 2-0 leads a lot, actually. 2-0. So we lack a little bit of experience there. So I think the fact that in the Challenge Cup we've done so well is just boosting the confidence of the girls. We're 3 points ahead of every other team in our group, and I don't think anybody expected that from us. So a little bit of an underdog mindset for them, and I'm very familiar with that mindset. But for these guys, it's just convincing them that it doesn't matter who you have in your team or what the names are. It's just how you go out and perform and how you guys mesh as a team and what the culture looks like. If you're going to play for each other for 90 minutes, absolutely anything is possible. And convincing them of that has been the hardest thing, I think. I think we need a superstar, or we need this, or we need that. You don't. You need the people in your team. And, if everybody does their job, you can get some really, really good results. Yeah.
Abby, that was the captain speaking for sure. I think we're all ready to run through a brick wall for you now. And we can believe that no matter what's happening, we're going to do great on the show, guys. Abby, I just want to finish off with how you're going to be watching the World Cup. Obviously, you were previously captain of this team. The timing is going to be very awkward and very weird. How are you going to watch your team play?
We were actually just talking about that during lunch today, about the hours and how we're going to kind of manage that. And I think, obviously we want to put Sav as much as we can. Having somebody from the club in the team is huge for us. Again, getting that exposure. And for her, I think she's earned it. She's played so well this season. So we're really happy for her. I think just honestly, we're going to have to set some alarms and just help each other through it a little bit. But the timing sucks, doesn't it? It's just
It is bad.
It's not ideal.
You go, it's too early. We do want to support you, but maybe I'll just watch the replay later. And how is that going to go? But I think, we might have to get up for one. And then, when you get into playoffs and stuff like that, you're obviously going to get up and watch those. So, yeah, it'll be fun.